America is de-industrializing. First factories moved to nearby Mexico, and now they're moving to China and Vietnam. While cheap labor over there is a big draw, tough new regulations over here are another reason that U.S. factories are shutting down. Environmental and labor regulations are making it tougher than ever for American companies to compete on a global scale. So what should be done? For answers, we are joined by environmental and public health policy issues consultant, junkscience.com publisher and author of Green Hell, Steven Milloy. I love the title of your book, Steve, Green Hell. Okay.
Thanks, David.
Now, are companies moving because of cheap labor over there in places like China and Vietnam, or because of all the excess regulation here?
Well, I think it's the accumulation of a lot of things. I mean, there is the cheap labor over there. There are technology. But you also have very expensive, very stringent environmental regulations. You've got OSHA workplace regulations. And it just makes sense for business, if you've got a lot of labor, to open up somewhere in Southwestern Asia or China where there is no EPA, there is no OSHA. Workers work real cheap.
Right. Well, hold on a second, because, by the way, one of the arguments against just the cheap labor is, you look at Germany. Industry in Germany is going great guns, and yet their labor costs are quite high, comparable to ours. But people would say, okay, it's true what you say, but on the other hand, have you tried living in Shanghai or Beijing recently? You can't breathe. It's like smoking a pack of cigarettes every day, just living there, because they have such high pollution, and we don't. So that's the trade-off. How do you answer that?
Well, I think that's exactly wrong. I mean, you're right. China has no Clean Air Act, and that's why the air is filthy over there. We've had a Clean Air Act in this country since 1970. We've updated it several times. Our air is clean, and has been clean for a long time. We are now just gratuitously passing environmental regulations. For example, the EPA is going to start regulating greenhouse gases starting January 2nd. This is a blatantly illegal move. It's not going to improve the environment. It's going to do nothing for the climate. All it's going to do is further encourage manufacturers to ship jobs overseas.
Well, Steve, look, I'm with you 100% on that thing, because, calling carbon dioxide a pollutant, come on, that means I'm a polluter just every time I exhale. That's ridiculous, and I think the science of that is bogus. However, I look at the Hudson River. I look at the Potomac River in Washington, D.C. These things have become extremely clean. I remember I grew up in D.C., where we used to see more dead rats floating down the Potomac River than anything else. Now you see people swimming there. So these rules have been effective for us, have they not?
Well, David, the rules that we passed in the 1970s and 1980s were effective. They're what has cleaned up our air and our water. And look, there's no one that's for dirty air or dirty water. Environmentalists trying to set themselves up on a higher moral plane than you and I and the rest of the viewers is really crazy. We all want clean air and clean water, and we already have those laws and regulations in place. What we're talking right now is about regulatory overkill, about the law of diminishing returns. Yes. Right now, the EPA is costing us a lot more than they are providing in benefits or producing in benefits.
And OSHA, by the way, we only have 30 seconds, but OSHA, we have had a couple of small business people on who say, we have never had OSHA breathing down our necks. I only have a company of two people, myself and my son, and we have OSHA regulators coming down and driving us out of business. So that's gotten totally out of hand, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, fortunately, OSHA has been kind of defanged on the regulatory side because of the way their enabling legislation was written. But that doesn't mean that the Obama administration can't send OSHA inspectors around to cause problems. And you have OSHA's sister agency, the Mine Safety Health Administration, that is coming out with new regulations that are going to, shut down the mining industry in this country. The Obama administration is using the regulatory agencies to destroy business or to control business, however they're using it. They're encouraging businesses to leave.
Well, we need businesses to stay now more than ever, and we need to reindustrialize our country. Steve Milloy, Green Hell is the name of his book. Great to see you, Steve. Thanks for coming in. Coming up on deck,